Today, we're gonna do a review of the Aer Gym Tote 2. In this video, I'm gonna take my experience of reviewing 500 plus of the world's best bags, and we're gonna tear this thing apart. I'm gonna let you know the honest pros and cons, we're gonna pack it out, we're gonna double check its advertised capacity, and in case you're not quite sold that this is the tote for your needs, I'm gonna make some alternative recommendations at the end of the video, so you're gonna wanna stick around for that. Because here at Nomadzation, our goal is to help you find the best bag for your needs. Let's go ahead and talk about the gist of the Aer Gym Tote 2. Aer is a carry brand from San Francisco, USA, and they're known for making really urban, kind of streetwear friendly carry gear that's also very tech friendly and just got a really it's just like an Aer vibe. They do their own thing, and it's kind of redefined the industry in a lot of ways. These guys are innovators. And this is the second iteration of their gym tote. Let's talk about some of its top features. We've got Aer's signature 1680D Cordura ballistic nylon, a quick access, diagonal, pocket in the front, zippered pocket in the back, two big old tote handles, good for hand carry mode and shoulder carry mode. A main compartment with a decent amount of organization. And then also this guy, which could be the defining feature, and it's why it's the gym tote, and it's the shoe compartment right here, which is probably gonna be a make or a break for you. Like if you're here watching this, it's probably because you're looking specifically for a tote that can work for your gym lifestyle. And if so, this shoe compartment, I got a lot to say about it. You're definitely gonna wanna stick around to that part of the review. There's some pros and some cons you gotta be aware of. We'll talk about that 2 chapters from now. Now, Aer claims this bag is 21 liters in capacity. We're gonna double check that. Now, real quick, while the bag's packed out, let's check its dimensions. So we got a height of 13 inches, a top width of 20 inches, and a fully packed out depth of just around 7.5 inches. Now, these volume measurement balls. We've filled up the main compartment. And that's it, because that'll give us a pretty good idea of the capacity we're actually playing with here. And you can see here, we got 5, 10, 15, we're around 16, 17, 18 liters, somewhere in that range. And I'm gonna say, like with this tote, there's not a lot of extra capacity outside of the main compartment because these other pockets here don't have their own volume, which means that this is not like a full 20 to me. I'd say this is closer to like 17, 18 liters of actual usable capacity. Let's look at the weight of the tote. Aer says it's 2.1 pounds. Our scale is coming in at 2.3 pounds. This is the tote when it's empty, and this is the bag when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomadzation team. Margaret's 5'2", I'm 5'8", and Jason Bagmo is 6'1". And don't worry, we're gonna pack out this bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. The gym tote currently comes in 4 options. You got X-Pack Black, and then the 1680D ballistic nylon, which has 3 of its own color options. All Aer bags are protected by their lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects, and having read every comment on this channel and just being a part of the bag community for a very long time, I can say that Aer is very notorious for honoring that warranty. And for all that, the Gym Tote 2 runs around 129 USD. And if at any point during this video, you're thinking to yourself, dang, that is literally the gym tote of my dreams. I gym, I need a tote, this is perfect. And if you're gonna make a purchase or you wanna find out more information, we do suggest doing so with the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support the Nomadzation YouTube channel and team, so we can keep making the best bag and gear reviews on the web. Thank you very much. All right, let's talk about the outside of the Aer Gym Tote 2. Aer's aesthetic is always very urban, techy, like I said, with a little bit of street attitude in the mix. The logo on the tote is a little bit louder than it is on some of their other bags. But overall, I don't think it's too loud. But what is not really loud, but really dominant about this bag is the fabric. As to where this is 1680D Cordura ballistic nylon. 1680D is the weave, and it's chunky. It's very, very unnecessarily thick. Cordura is the brand that makes it, and they make the best fabrics in the game. And ballistic nylon is just the actual weaving technique. It was actually developed by the military to help protect pilots against flak. So it's extremely abrasion resistant. It's pretty weather resistant, but it just looks and feels tough. And Aer's just overall vibe is very overbuilt and overconstructed. And the 1680D is a great example of that, as to where it is complete overkill. You do not need a fabric this thick on your daily gym tote, but doesn't mean that you're not gonna like it. And it just gives the Aer just it just feels tough. And that's also helped by reinforcement with the padding. It's not a brand known for lightweight, sort of loosey kind of gear. But one great thing about that is it does help the tote stand upright very well. But yeah, on the bottom of the bag, let's talk about that. You can see we got this little crease going on and there's padding in here. Yeah, this is cool. Aer implemented this like crease design into their City Pack Pro 2, which helps it self-stand really well. And now I can see it's going in their other bags. It's just a really cool design. I can't think of a lot of totes that self-stand very well. So it's where you're getting a bit of extra weight. This is 2.3 pounds, kind of heavy for a 17-liter tote. But that self-standing is a very cool, unique selling point. But as we move on from the middle, notice on the sides, there's no pocketing. Now on this side, we do have the shoe compartment, and we're gonna talk about that compartment and the other zippered compartments in the next section. But there's no water bottle pockets. And for some people out there, you're gonna kind of expect there to be some sort of external water bottle pocket, especially on a gym tote. Now there is an internal water bottle pocket, but I'll show you what that looks like again in the next chapter. A couple of external lash points here, just good to clip things on. It's good if you're like external carry or you like to decorate. We've got a luggage pass-through holder here. Very nice material, really great reinforced stitching. I don't know though, like, is toting and luggage traveling, like, is that cool? I guess so, like, it works. This works. I don't know if I'd do it though. Like, let me know like what you think. Would you fly with this tote or any other totes? Would you prefer like me to take a backpack or maybe a messenger? Let me know your thoughts on like tote flying in the comments below. But finally, let's discuss the last feature of the outside of the bag, which are these handles, which I think are gonna be a hit or a miss depending on what you value. Let's talk about the pros. First up is just the amount of like real estate that we have for these handles. Like some totes just give you like a little like chode handle, right? And it's like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this? But Aer's like, hell no. We're gonna give you handles that can literally fit a human head. Aer tote handles. You can squeeze a human head through them. That should be their slogan. Not a lot of tote handles offer that. And when they're that big, human head sized, at least Aaron human head sized, I got a big head. It allows you to go into shoulder mode very easily. And a lot of totes say they're totey, but like to be a real tote, in my opinion, you gotta be able to be like handheld and shoulder carried. And this configuration allows the best of both worlds. And then one nice thing too is Aer provided this little clip with a little buckle so you can clip this into place, therefore just giving yourself a bit more of a tidy carrying experience. But while I like all that, on the con side, these handles, they're not the most comfortable. See what's going on here? Like we just have the nylon webbing, and unfortunately, it's not this nylon webbing. This nylon webbing is so silky and satiny, and it's the same like fabric that's used on like a seatbelt. But this is significantly more coarse, and there's no real padding in there. It's just the nylon webbing sort of folded over, sewed into place, and it just feels like tough. Like this is, so, I don't know if you can hear it, but I wish there was a way that you could feel it, because this is soft and lovely and this is coarse, but that's not also terrible because sometimes soft and shoulder wear don't work very well together. You might be a tote wearer right now and have like soft tote handles, and then you're getting the shoulder slope slip. Shoulder slope slip, the triple S. And these tote handles won't do that because of the coarseness of the fabric that's being used. So a lot of pros and cons to kind of take into consideration there. What do you prioritize with your tote handles? Like, do you prefer them to be more comfortable and padded and silky, or do you like that coarseness to eliminate shoulder slope slippage, the triple S? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you're thinking to yourself, wow, he's like trademarking like comfort terms for tote wearing, this dude's a freaking nerd. Well, if that's the case, I wanna let you know that here at Nomads Nation, we don't just do bag reviews on our YouTube channel, but we also have the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, like I take everything up a notch. And I'm really proud of what we've done with it, as we're delivering emails directly to your inbox a couple times a month with the most important news of what's happening in the world of carry, EDC, and travel gear. I'm talking breaking news for the newest drops, limited edition releases, plus access to our discount codes and exclusive giveaways. And just kind of keep you on top of like industry trends. There's no other newsletter in the world like it, and I'd love to see you be a part of it. So if you want to subscribe, you can do so by finding this globe emoji in the description below. Hope to see you in your inbox. Moving on, let's talk about the inside of the Aer Gym Tote 2. We got a lot of pockets to discuss, starting with this front cool, trendy diagonal cut pocket. This pocket extends to this seam here, so you got a lot of real estate that you're playing with. And it is accessible with a YKK zipper with a Hypalon sticky puller and protected with a PU coating. The PU coating is gonna be a pro or a con depending on what you value. It can peel over time and potentially look like this, but it will give you extra weather resistance and a sleeker, streetier vibe. No additional organization in this pocket. It's just great for things that you want quicker access to, like your phone, AirPods, wallet. It can fit bulkier things as well. So you can see my over-the-ear headphones, my Sonys, fit in there. It was a little tight squeeze getting them in, and I probably wouldn't carry my Sonys in there, but it's just good to know that you could, hypothetically, if you wanted to. But for me, it's definitely a spot I'm gonna put my phone, my AirPods. This is a great compartment for quick access. No matter if you're carrying the tote in hand mode or in shoulder mode, easy to grab, gotta love that. Just like the back pocket. Now you might think that this pocket reaches all the way to the bottom, but it actually stops right here. So it's not super deep, which is why it's an ideal spot for your wallet, and also could be a great location for your passport and or boarding pass if this is your travel companion. This is also a great spot for those things because if you're EDCing with it or you're in a new location, you just wanna have a little bit extra protection. This back part is usually against your body. Now let's talk about the star of the show, which is this shoe compartment. Also should be noted that Aer has upgraded their zippers, or should I say changed their zippers, and this Hypalon that they're using now is really sticky, almost to the point where you're like, ew, is something on it? But there's nothing on it. That's just the new Hypalon like texture. And I gotta say, once you get used to that though, these zippers, it's like you barely have to grab them because of that extra stickiness. So it's really functional there, but it kind of almost leaves a little bit of stickiness on your fingers as well. Size 9, Nikes, Air Force Ones. You can see we're getting them in there, closing it up. And you see these 1, 2, 3 holes at the top? That's ventilation, right? Because let's admit, shoes sometimes can stank, especially your gym shoes. So this just helps to give this compartment a bit of ventilation, make sure it doesn't get like baked and caked into its own gym sense. Ain't nobody want that. This is a great compartment too because if you are using this for the gym, which let's be honest, if you're here, you probably are, it doesn't just have to be for shoes. It could be for your dirty gym towel or your change of clothes, right? It's just a way to separate whatever you don't want touching the main compartment. You know, it's a clear line. Clean stuff, not clean stuff. But there's some caveats and interesting notes to be aware of with that. But first, before getting into that, let's talk about access to the main compartment. And so we have this pull tab right here, YKK zipper, and then sort of this top tail. This is a tote opening design that I've seen a few times before, and it really irks some people, but some people also love it. I think it's great just for access. Totes, sometimes can have limited opening, and this just design, the zipper doesn't stop here, right? Kind of constricting access. You get extra sort of landing pad, right? Which then gives you the ability to open it wider. It's a little design touch, but it really goes a long way for access. But the problem is if you're improving access in some ways for you can also be improving access for other things like rain, which as you can see, this entire design has holes and slots where rain, snow, sleet, hail, potentially, right, can all sort of escape into, seep through. So in terms of weather resistance, not the best tote in the world, but if that doesn't mean anything to you and you're just really concerned about access, this whole scenario is pretty awesome. Now, back to our shoe compartment. Look at what we got going on here. The shoe compartment is literally taking up 50% of the space in this compartment. And this is just the thing with shoe compartments. It doesn't matter if it's on a tote or a duffel or a backpack. Shoes are big, and I only use size 9s. So if you are using that space, you're not gonna have a lot of other space in the main compartment. But I wanna show you what that's like packed out because let's be honest, that's the big selling point I think with this tote is that shoe compartment. So let's go ahead and get it packed out with some other stuff. Starting with our tech. This is a 16-inch MacBook Pro cutout. And if it's one thing that Aer has been known for over the years, it's just being a very tech-forward company and protecting your tech gear. And this laptop compartment is it's nice. You can see we can slide that 16-inch MacBook Pro in. You're not gonna get a bigger laptop in there. So you can see it's a nice snug fit. We got a really nice microfiber lining right here. This is gonna help kind of protect your laptop a little bit more, give it extra scratch resistant. Then I got a 13-inch iPad here, and this slides into there. So if you're going to the gym with your tech, and let's be honest, like you're probably a city person if you're watching this, right? Like you don't have a car. Otherwise, some of this stuff you probably just leave in the car. But if you're taking public transport in the morning, getting them gains at the gym before you hit the office, this sleeve will accommodate your tech stuff nicely and also well protected. Like this is made out of a very hard plastic, right? So you'd hear it if it was hitting too hard. There's a decent false bottom there, some decent padding. It's not gonna be as good as like a backpack where you have like a full like 1-inch false bottom, but for a tote, some pretty impressive tech protection. But one thing that doesn't usually go well with tech protection is water. And this is where some people are gonna get confused as to where there's a water bottle, but it's on the inside of the bag. Now it's hard to see. This is the thing with totes, right? They're tight. But I love this water bottle. As you can see, it's using this really nice stretchy material, and our 24-ounce Columbia water bottle is sliding in there very, very comfortably. Laptop, water bottle, just gotta be careful of these two things, right? All right, I'm gonna have to take out these shoes because you can't really see what's going on in the main compartment. This kind of shows it a little bit better. One thing about this design with the access though is this flap does kind of get in the way. So again, a pro and a con with every design choice. That kind of gives you a bit better perspective as to where we have zippered pocket at the top and 2 stretchy pockets. Stretchy pockets are good for your laptop charger, packable tote. On the other side, we'll throw a small tech pouch, your glasses, right? Zippered pocket, we've got a key leash. There's some meds at the top, tape measure, because you just never know when you need to measure something. And now you can see with that main compartment, this is the excess fabric for where the shoes go. Let's see if we can tie this all together and get the shoes in there. And yeah, it's getting tighter, but I think we're gonna be able to do this. Hell yeah. A little bit of space on top for a tech pouch, and that is our 18-liter tote. Now, one final comfort test, this thing is packed out, and again, like, first of all, let's be honest, are totes the most comfortable thing in the world? No, just get a backpack. Like, I'm really serious. Like, why are you getting a tote? Get a backpack. You got 2 straps, you don't have to do like the tote pimp walk, right? This is not great for your bag, but if you are insistent upon getting a tote, I think it's pretty comfy. Again, the handles could have used a bit more padding here. It's not my preference, I definitely would prefer more padding, but everyone's preferences differ. And it's important to keep in mind that you might not agree with me on my perspective. And it's also important to keep in mind that other people have tested this bag who might have different perspectives. If that's the case, you should definitely check the comments, or if you have this bag, like let us know what you think about it in the comments below so we can just start a community discussion. And speaking of community discussions, another spot to ask your questions is on the Nomads Nation subreddit. We got one of the biggest communities of gearheads in the world, and somebody should be able to answer your questions there. All right, time to give the bag my overall scores. Keep in mind, these are very personal, not a reflection necessarily of like scientific facts, just my preference. Comfort, I give it like a 2.5 out of 5. I love the length of the handles and the versatility that it gives, but for me, I just prefer more padding and these handles don't give it to me. For the value though, I'm gonna give it a much higher score. I'm gonna say it's like a 4 out of 5. Aer always brings really good value. YKK zippers, Cordura fabrics, insane construction and materials, a lifetime warranty. Like when it comes to value, Aer is like one of the hardest brands to beat. And I love that about them. Just on a side note, like the bigger they are getting at scale, the more competitive they're getting with their prices. So thank you for that, Aer. 4 out of 5. Overall score, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I will admit I'm not the tote enthusiast that I am with bags. I reviewed probably 50 totes at this point though. I think there's a lot to love about this tote. And for that, I stick by my score, 3 out of 5. Final answer. Let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Aer Gym Tote 2. Pro number 1 is gonna be just all of Aer's amazing materials. Pro number 2 is going to be the extra space that you are getting from these handles. And pro number 3 is that if you are looking for a gym tote, that shoe compartment can be a lifesaver. But on the flip side, all bags have cons, and con number 1, I'm actually gonna start with that shoe compartment again as to where it's really gonna take up a lot of space in the main compartment. Con number 2, also in the main compartment, is gonna be just a lack of weather resistance with this like traily zipper design. And con number 3 is going to be just the lack of comfort when it comes to these handles. So if you're still here and you stuck with me this long, there's a good chance that you're thinking to yourself, like, dude, that tote is exactly what I want. Totally gonna pick one up. And just a reminder, if you're gonna do that, we highly suggest doing so with the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support our channel, which we really appreciate, thank you. But if you're not quite sold, let's talk about alternatives, because I don't care what tote you buy. I don't care if it's this one or anyone. I just want you to find the tote that best suits your needs. First things first though, if you're new to the channel, you definitely gotta check out the Nomads Nation leaderboard video. This is where myself and all the Nomads Nation squad, we're a bunch of gearheads, and we get together and we tell you our favorite bags and distinct bag categories. This way you can see just kind of what the best options are on the market and from different perspectives. I've gone ahead and linked that above. But if we're close with this tote, here's two alternatives that might just be a little bit better for you. My first recommendation is gonna be the Orbitkey Daily Tote. Now this tote doesn't have a shoe compartment. Honestly, neither of the ones I'm gonna recommend do, because it's a very rare feature. But it's just a great self-standing and day-to-day tote. It has a very similar opening system, really smart organization, and it's one of the cooler totes that we've reviewed in a long time. And my second recommendation is gonna be the Black Ember WPT. Black Ember is kind of similar to Aer in terms of they're really dark, but just beautiful aesthetic. But WPT stands for Weatherproof Tote, so it's a great pick for you if you need a lot more weather resistance with your tote. The main compartment is sealed shut. You've got PU-coated zippers protecting you from rain. Honestly, all three totes are great. They just have their own unique pros and cons, and you gotta figure out which pros and cons suit your needs. So if you wanna learn more about the two alternatives, you can go ahead and watch these videos here. If you got any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below or in the Nomads Nation subreddit. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.